In ancient Rome, they sold it in little clay pots at the market, right next to the bread and the olive oil, a paste made from crushed plant roots, animal fat, and ground beetle shells, and you rubbed it on your face before you went out. Because in Rome, pale skin meant you weren't a laborer. It meant you had money. It meant someone else stood in the sun for you, and that made you attractive, desirable, worth choosing. In ancient China, women bound their feet for 1,000 years, starting at age 5 or 6, breaking the bones deliberately, reshaping them into something that could barely walk, because the inability to walk easily signaled that you'd never had to, that you were kept, that you were valuable enough to be ornamental rather than functional. In ancient Egypt, both men and women lined their eyes in thick black coal, not for beauty in the way we think of it, but because darkened eyes signaled health. They reduced sun glare, they had antimicrobial properties, they protected against eye infections in a desert environment. What looked like cosmetics was actually medicine. What looked like vanity was actually a survival signal dressed up as fashion. Here's what's interesting about all three of those. They look completely different. Different cultures, different centuries, different standards of beauty, so foreign to each other, they're almost unrecognizable. And yet underneath every single one of them, the same machinery is running. The same ancient question, asked in 1,000 different costumes. Does this body have access to resources? Is this person healthy enough to survive? Are they worth choosing? Beauty standards change. The algorithm underneath them never does. And that algorithm is much, much older than Rome, older than Egypt, older than any civilization that ever built a wall or wrote a law or ground beetles into face paste. Let's go back, way back. To before cities, before agriculture, before any of the cultural scaffolding we've built around attraction. To the body itself, which has been running its own assessment since long before our species had language to describe what it was doing. Your eye moves towards symmetrical faces before you can stop it. This isn't taste, it's a readout. A face that's slightly off, one eye sitting a fraction higher, a jaw that doesn't quite balance, is registering something real. Bilateral symmetry is a signal of developmental stability. It means the body executed its own genetic blueprint without interference. Parasites, illness, stress during growth, all of these leave asymmetry behind like fingerprints. Here's where it gets stranger. In 1995, a Swiss biologist named Klaus Wedekind ran one of the most quietly disturbing experiments in the history of attraction research. He had men wear plain white t-shirts for 2 days, no deodorant, no scented products, and then had women smell them. Rate the attractiveness of the scent, simple enough. But the results weren't random. Women consistently rated the smell of men whose immune system genes, specifically the major histocompatibility complex, the MHC, were most different from their own as the most attractive. Not similar, complementary. Think about what that means. Your nose is running a genetic compatibility scan every time you're close enough to someone to catch their actual scent, not their perfume, not their soap, their underlying biological reality. You are processing immune system data you have no conscious access to. You're assessing whether your combined immune repertoire would give your children broader disease resistance, and you're calling the result of that assessment chemistry. Ancient Egyptian women didn't know about the MHC. Roman women didn't know about bilateral symmetry research, but they were running the same scan. The same nose, the same visual cortex, the same nervous system, doing the same ancient computation, just wrapped in different cultural clothing. Sometimes you're drawn to someone and you genuinely can't explain why. Your immune system already explained it. You just weren't in the room for that conversation. But attraction isn't only about what the body carries, it's also about what it can do. Watch how quickly your nervous system responds to competence. Someone who is genuinely, effortlessly good at something, it doesn't matter what, registers as attractive in a way that bypasses your reasoning entirely. Someone who navigates a difficult social situation with ease. A person who fixes something broken. Someone who makes a room laugh without trying. Your nervous system reads all of these as the same signal. This organism is effective. And effectiveness in the environment your ancestors were built for was the difference between children who survived and children who didn't. The Roman woman who found status markers attractive wasn't shallow. She was running survival math. A man with resources, with access, with social standing, in a world without hospitals or safety nets or welfare systems. that man gave your children a better chance. The Chinese woman who found a certain stillness and delicacy attractive wasn't just following fashion. She was reading a signal about economic security in a world where economic security was survival itself. The modern proxies are just new costumes on the same ancient signal. Wealth, confidence, the particular way someone carries themselves in a room. Your nervous system reads all of it the same way it always has. The pull isn't shallow, it's a fossil. And then it gets more uncomfortable, because attraction doesn't always track what you consciously want. Studies on ovulatory cycles show that what bodies find attractive shifts across the month in measurable ways. During peak fertility, preferences move toward indicators of genetic quality, stronger symmetry, more pronounced features, behavioral dominance. Outside of those windows, preferences shift toward cooperation, warmth, stability. The same person can register differently to the same nervous system depending on when the assessment is run. And this was true in ancient Rome, it was true in ancient China, it was true on the savannah 3 million years ago, before any of those places existed. The cultural wrapper changes completely. The biological substrate doesn't move at all. There's also this. Research consistently shows that people often end up with partners who physically resemble their opposite-sex parent, not always, not universally, but enough that it appears across cultures and centuries. The first face that ever signaled safety and care to your developing brain left a template, and your nervous system has been quietly matching against it ever since, whether you're in ancient Alexandria or a coffee shop in 2026. Here's what I keep coming back to. Every beauty standard humans have ever invented, the kohl-lined eyes of Egypt, the bound feet of imperial China, the bleached skin of Rome, the symmetrical faces your visual cortex lights up for right now, every single one of them is a cultural translation of the same ancient document. Health, resources, genetic compatibility, survivability. The languages change completely. The message is always identical. You are standing right now running the exact same assessment your ancestor ran on the savannah. Your nervous system is processing faces, postures, voices, smells in milliseconds, producing verdicts you experience as desire, as chemistry, as, I don't know. There's just something about them. There's something about them because millions of years of survival data got compressed into a fraction of a second and handed to you as a feeling. Ancient humans painted their faces, bound their bodies, crushed beetles into paste, all trying to speak to that same mechanism, all trying to say in whatever language their culture gave them, choose me, I am worth surviving with. And somehow, across all of it, enough of them succeeded that you're here to feel it too.